Cool.
And we're live.
All right, live.
Steve, what's good, dude?
Destination Podcast with
Yeah,
Robbie
man.
Max. What's good?
We're here. I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm wonderful, blessed.
I love it.
Blessed.
It's been a minute since we caught up.
Yeah, it's nice to be out in, where are we? Westwood,
Westwood,
yeah.
New Jersey, bro. Have you ever been here?
I've heard so much about Westwood between you and Little Bro, but
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
actually never been out here.
Yeah, it's like a gem, man. It's like I don't even know if we knew what we had growing up. It's kind of just where we landed, where our parents landed, and then,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, it's a nice town. It's a borough.
It's a borough.
I saw that when I was coming in.
It's a borough.
It was a town.
Regional
It's a borough.
school. High school is us in Township.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Welcome to Westwood, dude.
Yeah, no, it seems like a nice, quaint little town.
It is.
You know?
It's not from where are you from?
The Bronx.
The Bronx.
The Bronx.
Very different.
Yeah, born and raised, big buildings, you know.
Yeah.
Neighbors very close.
Yeah.
Park across the street, pizza shop down the corner. I mean, I'm sure you got that here too, but.
Yeah, we do. It's different though. It's not the Bronx.
Yeah,
We're not the Bronx anymore, dude.
No.
This is the burbs. This is the burbs of Westwood. And it's like a little gem of a town, man.
Yeah.
I always tell people it's next to Paramus.
Yeah, so I don't even really. So now I'm getting more familiar after doing a lot of business out here in Jersey with the different townships, but I'm still learning my way.
Yeah. Well, talk business, man. I know, I met you when Future Moguls days, early Future Moguls days for me and early Future Moguls days for you.
Yeah. Shout out my boy Miles.
Yeah, man. Shout out Miles.
Yeah.
I want to get him on here. Dude,
Oh, man.
one day. He'd be a great. Me and him.
You got to catch him when he's here.
He's not here. He's in like China, Japan, somewhere.
Yeah, God bless, man. That guy, man. I can't speak highly enough about him.
Yeah, dude. He is somebody, because we grew up together. So he's a couple towns over, and just watching his come up. And we kind of came up in the music together. Like I was doing artistry, he was doing production, and it's been fun watching him come into his own, figure it out. He's a workhorse. He's so talented.
It's funny though. You know how I met Miles?
I don't.
Yeah. So his brother Chris. Shout out to Chris.
Shout out Chris, dude.
Chris was buddies with a dude that I went to high school with.
Okay.
And somehow we got in the conversation, me and my boy from high school, and I was like, yeah, I own this bar down in the city. He's like, oh, I'm going to come down with a couple guys. They're into real estate. They're looking to do certain things. And he brought Chris. Mm-hmm. And Chris brought Miles. Mm-hmm. And it just so random that one night we're sitting there in Bar 9, and Chris, Miles, me, and my boy Frank were talking. And I'm like, oh, he was telling me he does music, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, yeah, listen, one of my like bucket goals is to get a plaque that just says that I have like a top Billboard song. And it's just like one of those things.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I can do that for you. I was like, what?
It's so Miles, too.
He's like, if you really want that, like, so I'm launching this new company called Future Moguls, and you could be involved. I mean, I need somebody who knows business. Wow. And that's how kind of we started linking up. And then through him is how I met you. I met Little Bruh, and the rest is
that's
history.
Crazy, dude. It's crazy because when I'd stopped doing music, obviously Miles and I like rooted for each other forever, and he has Titus, and Titus is a Westwood guy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so like we all know each other, just from the area, and then obviously being those few guys that did music or whatever. But yeah, when I stopped, my artist days, my artist venture, I was looking for a home, and I loved what Miles was doing. I had been a fan, my buddy, I supported him, and it was one of those things where it was like, let's play around with this a little bit. You know what I mean?
That house, that townhouse that we had out there was crazy. Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Watching it develop is insane, dude.
Yep. So that was like my dabble in music business, and still to this day. I mean, listen, I'm still involved to a degree.
Yeah.
But I let Miles kind of do the heavy lifting.
You're better off letting.
Yeah. And it's the interesting thing, and even like when it comes to you, and even when it comes to like Richie, like when you're dealing with creators, it's much different. Me, I'm black and white. I'm business. I'm like, yo, dude, the numbers don't make sense.
Correct.
And Miles is like, you got to see the vision, bro.
I've heard that one many times.
Got to see the vision, bro. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, man, I'm trusting you, dude.
Yeah.
And listen, man, again, I can't speak highly enough about him.
It's amazing, dude. I haven't seen Miles in a minute. We catch up from time to time. I mean, I did a lot of business with Chris. We moved around a lot. Chris opened my eyes to a lot of stuff.
I saw Chris in Vegas. Savage. I saw Chris in Vegas less than a year ago. And I was in Vegas, and he was like, yo, I'm in Vegas too, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, cool, let's link up. And we linked up. We had an amazing night. He took me out to a club. We get into the club. Yeah. We walk right in, and there's a bottle of this, bottle of that.
He is.
I'm like,
he's one of the most unique
And he's talking about crypto. He's talking like,
dude,
he's got his hands in so many different things.
They're both very smart. And they're similar in so many ways, but they also complement each other in so many ways. Like,
you know
Chris
what bugged me out about Chris?
Yeah.
Was hearing his music.
Bro, the first time
Miles played it, I'm like, yo, who is that? He's like, that's Chris. I'm like, what? Stop.
Like awesome folk.
Yeah. Bro, like what?
Bro, wild.
Yeah.
It also doesn't hurt that he looks like Dave Grohl. But
Well,
that's neither here nor there. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a savage, bro. I got tight with Chris because I've known Miles. I really didn't know Chris like that. You know, I knew Chris vicariously through Miles. I got tight with Chris because Chris was working out in the city at a vapor and cannabis technologies incubator, and I needed work. And he's like, "Oh, you'd be great." Well, I walked into the door, bro. I wound up working with him for like 11 months, and then we dove into other ventures in the space. Yeah, he's a genius.
Yeah.
In a million ways. Yeah.
Great guys.
It's crazy, bro.
Great guys.
Crazy.
Great guys.
I miss them, man. I miss seeing them. I was with them a lot for a long time. But life is life.
Yeah, of course.
I got a family now. But what else, man? I mean, listen, you're real estate. You got Bar 9.
Yep.
Music, we know. But I want to tap into your world a little bit. Like, who is Steve? Right? What motivated you to become the businessman that you are today?
I think that it all comes from my upbringing. It all comes from my father, right? Like so my experience genuinely, when I graduated college, I say I graduated, but I didn't. I walked down the aisle. I walked down and I got my like a paper diploma, but I didn't actually graduate. I didn't graduate until 10 years later when I went back to get my last 3 credits. But anyway, my dad says to me, hey, listen, you have a choice. You have a degree in public relations. You can go out, you can get a job. At that point, it was probably 40, 50K a year. Go work in Manhattan. I live in the Bronx. It was easy to hop on the train. Or you could work with me for a year and I'll teach you how to never depend on another man for a check for the rest of your life.
Wow.
I chose the latter. And true to his word, a year later, he says to me, hey, how much money you got in the bank? Oh, I got a couple grand or whatever. He's like, good. This is the last time I'm going to pay you. And then from that point on, I haven't had a job. And I've been on my own and I've been a businessman. And my father taught me, he instilled in me that you could go out and make your own luck, make your own fortune, make your own life that you want to design it to be. And that's kind of where it comes from. And I just take that little bit of every single day. I try to get a little bit better.
Yeah.
And try to make it so that way I'm not dependent on anybody else.
That's beautiful. It's like, it's rare, parents, because the system's the system. You kind of have go to high school, go to college, go get a job, go get a certain degree, whatever your field you're interested in, and you kind of work for the system. You know, so to have that drilled to you, how early was this? Is this like as a kid?
I mean, look, dude, I
were you like 10, 12 years old working?
Probably younger, dude. Like I'll never forget this. Like I was growing up, our dinner table talk was talking about deals. That's our dinner table talk. It was talking because my two older brothers. What did your
dad do?
Real estate.
Oh, he's a real estate guy.
Real estate guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
real estate guy. So
yeah.
I have my father and then I have my two older brothers. So growing up at the dinner table, my dad would just talk about deals. He would just talk about his day. He was really just talking about his day. I dealt with this one today and he's looking to buy this property and that property and I didn't do it. And I didn't, so it was just the lingo. And then what would happen was, I would need money to do things. And he's like, all right, cool. So after school, come sit in the office. And I would sit in the office for an hour. He'd make me sit there. I'd sit there for an hour. I had no idea what I was doing. On a couch, probably very similar to this.
Yeah.
Bored out of my mind. Before social media, before cell phones. I was sitting there and I was like writing on a piece of paper or something. And I was just listening to the lingo, listening to the talk, listening to different people coming in. And he would take time to explain to me all right, so you see that guy who just came in here? All right, he's got X amount of dollars. He's looking to buy a property. We're going to try to link him with this guy over here. And that's how I kind of learned how to put the deal together. It's really as simple as connecting people and brokering it, really. And then that year that I spent with him after college, he really
you're at that age,
23, 24 years old. I would be with him literally day and night. And that's just kind of how it was, instilled in me. And I just my personality isn't that of somebody who takes orders very well.
I could see it.
Yeah, I don't, so it just kind of led me down this path.
Yeah. Wow. And that whole not taking orders, is that also instilled from your father? Is he stern like that as well?
He was. Yes, he was. Yeah, he passed away in 2009.
Sorry.
But no, it's all good. So he passed away in 2009, but yeah, he was very much his own man.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you have Sinatra on the wall.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this. So we're driving, and my father didn't even really listen to music in the car. Like, it was always just, silent or very, very low.
Yeah.
And the last year he was alive, I would drive him back from the hospital. So one day we're coming up, and I put My Way on, and it just happened to be on, because I just put on like an oldies whatever station, and he's like, "Oh, pump that up," and I'm like, "Oh shit, all right, cool,
let's go, Dad."
So,
let's do this.
So now when I go visit him at the cemetery, I always play that song, and it's always just a reminder, and it's just very much like he lived life his way, and that's how I want to live my life, my way, not subject to what other people are telling me what my life should be.
Yeah, I feel like you do though. And I think this is probably going to be the longest conversation we've had. We've had a lot of time together over the years, but I don't think we've ever really sat down and gotten to know each other. Mm-hmm. But I from how I know you, how I see it, seeing the way you operate, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not. The one thing about me is that I like to pride myself on is that I'm not one who's fake. I'm not. You're not, a liar,
and you're not cold either. Like a lot of people who are not to say fake or maybe have, like, because you do have personality.
Yes, I like to think so.
My
fiance tells me I do.
You do. No, you do. Like you actually are warm. There's a warmth to you. But stern. Like it is more raw. Like you just say it how you see it, as opposed to dancing. Like I've learned the hard way. Like I've been a people person too, but I also cater to a lot of how you think, and I'm empathetic, and and it. Listen, it's a great trait, but it's also a detriment.
Funny thing, we're out the other night for dinner. It's me, my fiance, her sister, and her husband, and they're talking, and I overhear, like, they're in the middle of a conversation. I just came back in the bathroom, and I'm like, they're like, yeah, you're very cold, or you're very this, and I'm like, no, I'm not. They're like, you don't mince words, and I'm like, but you don't understand that only 10% of what I'm actually thinking is coming out.
And
If you knew the other 90%, then you'd think I was.
Yeah, well, and that's not cold. That's and not to put this situation on blast, right? Yeah. But that's also people's sensitivity.
Yes.
And I've learned that over time too, and that's also why I've put that at the forefront of the way I operate at times. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm the one that has to lay my head down at night and live with whatever outcome that is. Now you're probably getting energy from me, so whatever you're missing, you're pulling it from me. Mm-hmm. You get some of my good. And then the more and more I'm giving energy. Yep. What am I left with?
It's all out there.
Yeah.
What are you holding for yourself?
Yeah. And why are you trying to be everybody's friend? You could be friendly without being everybody's friend.
So it's funny, again, just to piggyback off that, like I just was listening to something literally today about like being like labeling everybody your friend. Mm-hmm. And it was like, it's very interesting to me because like we in society, we're just like, oh yeah, that's my friend.
That's my guy.
That's my friend.
Yeah.
Like that word gets thrown around so easily, but like my friends are the ones that I can call at 2:00 in the morning.
Yes. Who at the drop of a dime.
And you could be associates, you could be whatever, cool, close, whatever it may be. But like, I just feel like, especially in today's society, people get too caught up on trying to be friends with everybody.
Yeah. But dude, listen. You don't got to tell me, bro.
I like the space. I like,
I've learned to like the space. My having my son changed everything mentally. Yeah. And I was in a very weird space at that time too, because a lot of the things we're talking about now kind of came crashing internally, crashing down on me. And the second he came into my life, it became almost like the greatest excuse to just finally, and I can just say fucking no.
Yeah.
Sorry, can't.
Yeah,
sorry,
I got nothing. I got my kid.
Yep, that's it. Yeah. I didn't have to dance around it like, maybe I can make it. Maybe I can. No, I'm good.
One of the most successful people that I've met is very good at saying no.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to say no.
You have to
bunker down and really focus on the most important tasks at hand and focus on the most important relationships.
Correct.
Right? My fiance, I just got engaged in July. We're planning a wedding right now. Like that's the most important relationship to me right now. Mm-hmm. It's not going out and hanging out with my boys. It's not going out and doing these different things. Yeah. It's getting my work done, being there for my family, being there, and showing up for her in a way that she needs me to show up for her.
That is that's amazing, first and foremost, dude. I've been with my wife for 17 years, and
God bless.
Yeah, but I put her through hell. Like I put her through a lot of ups and downs.
Young, man, 17 years. I mean,
yeah, but like a lot of what we were just talking about made the relationship difficult. And then when I would have like a bone to pick or not be happy about something, right, I would lash out, and it's a lot of internal stuff. It's not you doing something wrong. Everything is communication. So like we could talk through, even if I disagree with something. Listen, you're never going to agree on everything. We are very different. Period. Yeah. Right? And we are very different. Like we complement each other very well because we're very different. But by putting so much energy into so much else, I wasn't putting the energy into who cared about me the most.
Who was the most important?
Who was the most important, is the most important. And
but the fact that she stood with you,
patient, bro. She's patient. Dude. She has shown me what true love is. She's shown me what it feels to actually be loved. Outside of my mother, my father, my sister, you know, she has shown me that to make the mistakes that I have, to be here for her to be patient with me the way she has. Yeah, dude, I love her. I love her. It's special.
And so growing up, right? Like we think that it's important to have this large group of friends. And I have a very large group of friends that I grew up with that to this day, you know, you're on various group chats at this point. And like, those are like seriously, I'm sure
the group chats. I'm laughing at the group chats.
I'm sure, like group chats,
they're so wild.
I tell people, please don't add me to any more group chats.
yeah.
Because like stuff starts popping up from whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, especially if they don't have an iPhone.
Yeah.
Please don't add me to a group chat if you know that somebody does not have an iPhone. Please, bro, keep me off that.
The worst.
Yeah, miss me with that.
Miss me with that.
With all that green, please. Anyway, so I have a large group of friends that I grew up with, and these dudes are like my brothers.
Yeah.
But you know, like, and that's true friendship, that we don't have to see each other all the time.
That's
but when we do, it's boom, right back.
You pick up from where you left off. Yeah. I mean, and I have, you know, those people.
Yeah.
You know those people.
Yeah.
You doesn't have to, you know.
I don't even consider them friends. Like, those are brothers.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Brothers.
That you've been through so much with. And like still to this day, that you're still looking for each other.
Yeah. And I think about them. Like I want to know they're good.
You see something on the street, you see a meme, and you think of them.
Think of them.
You know what I mean?
Think of them. Like if something pops up, it reminds me of them in some way, shape, or form. Mind you, I might not have seen you in 3 months.
Yeah.
But when I see you,
if I see, you know, like if you see like you're passing by, let's just say your boy is John or whatever, and you're on John Street, you just take a picture of John Street, send it to, you know,
what's up, loser?
Well, when they name the street after you, bum.
Terrible street.
What'd you do to get a street? You know, something like that. You know what I mean?
No, I do. I know exactly what you mean, man.
Those are super important relationships to me.
Yeah.
So just kind of going back to like what we were talking about, how like I'm stern and I'm short. It's just because like I don't have the time anymore.
Yeah.
And I've wasted so much time in my life. Like I barely take a sip of alcohol anymore. I don't really smoke at all anymore. Like I can't even tell you the last time I smoked or drinking. It's
like crazy, that switch. Like I feel that switch too. It's like it's not. It doesn't. For what? Like a social thing, like maybe from time to time, you know, and it has to be the right setting. But the second, I feel.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I went back to being like paranoid when I was smoking. Like, you know, when you first start smoking, when you're like 15, 16, whatever.
Terrible.
And you're like paranoid. And you're like, oh my God, and my mom's going to walk down the street.
Yeah.
Like, I got back to doing that because I didn't smoke for so long.
You have too much going on.
Yeah, too much. I have too many tabs open in my brain.
I don't need to be this kind of distracted.
I don't need it. And plus, what I really found was that I wasn't productive.
Yeah. What do you really want?
I need to get up. I need to get stuff done. Like, like if I, you know, like I'm not saying this to whatever, but like my to-do list is extremely long. Like I got so many things to get done that I can't really waste any time.
No, I relate to that. And I'm from somebody who smoked a lot, like a ton. I mean, a ton. And I know people who are very productive. I also think about how productive maybe would you be if you didn't. I always think about that, right? Because I'm myself. I mean, I smoked a lot of weed, like especially an artist, and then I used to make up the excuse all the time. I used to even tell my wife, I'd be like, no, I need to be creative. No, I need it for this. No, I need it for that. I need it for that. And then I got off of it. I'm like, I don't think so, actually. I'm actually sharper than I've ever been.
Yes.
I can't believe I actually made it this far, shaking hands. Like, I shook a lot of hands.
Walked into a lot of rooms, cooked.
And maybe they knew it, maybe they didn't.
Stinking all on you.
Terrible, man.
But God bless the cannabis. Like, listen, I firmly believe
it is medicine.
It is.
Yes, it's medicine.
I don't call it a drug. It's not a drug.
No,
it was just something that I just didn't see as a part of my life that I needed to continue to abuse.
I'm with you on that.
Because the abuse is really what it comes down to, right? Like
any
I'm going to play basketball, let me light up.
Yeah.
I'm going to the movies, got to light up.
Yep.
Like
everything has to be in moderation. Any bit of too much of anything probably isn't
even work.
Yeah, anything.
Even work.
You need to find balances. You need to be, secure in that. And yeah, I agree with you.
I started just to kind of piggyback off that. Like I started like every single morning, and you'd probably be surprised to hear this, but like every single morning, I get up, I go to the gym, I do the sauna, I do a cold plunge, I meditate. Every single morning.
On everything I love for the last 5 months, I go to last month, no, because sickness, there's a lot, but meditating wise, go to the gym. 5 o'clock in the morning, I wake up, go to the gym, I work out, I go to the sauna, I meditate in the sauna, then I take a.
Me too.
I have found my sister has been on me about this for a long time because she meditates.
It's amazing.
She's like, you need to breathe. She's been telling me forever, like, you need to breathe. You don't stop.
I breathe. What are you talking about?
Bro, I would fight. I'm like, no, you don't understand. And I knew, like, there was a part of what she was saying. If my sister's going to come to me and tell me anything like that, there's something there. Yep. But I would be combative, like, you don't know, blah, blah, blah. It's been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. I've been going to therapy for the last 5 months. Like between you and I, dude,
really?
Bro, between and everybody. I mean, I've talked about it in the past, but I've been going to therapy, and that's been really good because no strings attached conversation, wanting to get things off my chest.
Non-judgmental.
Zero judgment, right? And just spewing my life and this is what I've been through, all of this stuff. And then hearing somebody's perspective and pushback or questions, whatever, has opened up a lot of doors for me too positively.
Yep. Yeah. I haven't embarked on the therapy yet, but the meditation's
good, man.
Dude, in the sauna, you sit there for 10 minutes.
Guided or do you guided meditation?
I have to do guided.
Bro. Yeah, I don't think I'm not there yet where I can just
zen.
No, I'm not. I think too much, so I need to be talked through. Telling me. Yeah. I
use the Calm app.
Do you?
Yeah.
I have used it in the past. I actually just YouTube a lot of stuff and find different, channels.
Yeah, I like the Calm app only because. So again, like my personality, I like how it checks off a box. So 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row.
Structure.
Oh, you missed yesterday. I like to see the check.
You need the reminder.
I like to see that, man.
Yeah. No, it's good. I'm happy you do that, dude. That's funny.
But I wouldn't be able to do that if I was still abusing and drinking and.
No, you've tapped into another
whole other thing.
It's another thing.
It slows down my day. It slows down my brain, and it allows me for that hour and a half.
Yep.
Where people are not tugging at you, asking.
Own space, own world.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of in my own thing, doing my own thing. And it allows me to really think and be grateful because a lot of the meditation is about, gratitude and really just focusing on what the happiness, right?
Mm-hmm. It's the truth.
The happiness that we live in because we're so focused. You turn on the news and it's fear mongering. Oh, there's going to be a huge snowstorm today.
It's distractions everywhere.
If we were normal dudes, we would have heard the weather report. I'm like, let's reschedule, Robbie.
Yeah.
I don't know about the weather.
I don't even think about any of it. Like, there's so much to me that, listen, control the controllables has been like my thing for a minute.
You have to.
For a minute. Like, I can't get it out of my head. I learned it at work. It was the first time I heard it in corporate space. Control the controllables. It's kind of how they would, coach us through our sales role. And it's very relative to life. It's all very relative. You have to control the controllables. The things that we dwell on, the things that majority of people, maybe not we all have our stuff, but like so many people dwell, stress, they're fearful. And when you ask of what, and they can't, and if it's anything outside of.
They're fearful of stuff that they can't even put the words on. And again, I don't want to get too far down this path, but I think that it's just that people are just victims of the what's happening, how the media is controlling.
Period. Social media, it's anything. It's anything and everything. It's advertising. It's marketing. I mean, the best companies in the world know how to reel you in
with emotion.
With emotion. Like
fear is the best way.
The best way.
Yeah, fear.
The best way.
Not love.
No.
Go back to Sonny from Bronx. Would you rather be loved or be feared?
Mm-hmm.
He'd rather be feared.
He'd rather be, like, knowing what he can get out of it.
And if the media and these brands can make you fear something and choose them because out of fear, like, they're winning.
And the vast majority of people are easily persuaded through fear.
You want to know what one of my favorite things to do on social media is right now? Unfollow. That's it. Mute on Instagram, mute story, mute You go to the little thing, you press the thing, mute.
I don't need this anymore.
Unfollow.
Yeah, it's no. Listen, no.
Especially
no hate, no nothing.
Yeah, just I don't need your energy.
The energy, bro.
I'm big on it, man. Like I feel like
it's really good to hear, man. Yeah,
I'm huge on it. Unfollow, unfriend.
Yeah,
Facebook tells you to take a break.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I actually, it's interesting the Zuckerberg way. I'm like watching him kind of come into this space of not being this like nerdy behind the scene and almost opening up between doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu and all these other things. And you're just the way he's talking, and whether you like him, you don't. It's just he seems just more
like a dude,
pure.
Yeah.
Pure.
You know what it is? I haven't really followed him specifically, but like when I think of Zuckerberg, I think of the movie. With,
of course.
So I think of him as that nerdy, standoffish. Like, And my favorite scene from that part was when he was talking about, when they were saying like, "Do you think I deserve your time?" When the lawyer started, "No, I don't think you deserve my time." And that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't want to pay attention to you. I don't want to pay attention to whatever's going on social media or the negativity. Keep that over there.
Yeah, and how do you? And
I want to control what I can control.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
And that makes life beautiful, so much more beautiful when you're not like, you don't need a lot, and we all want to make money. We want to remove some of the stresses that are, listen, you make a conscious decision. I joke with my wife all the time, like there's going to be a day I'm just going to get in an RV and I'm gone. Like I'm gone. I could do this. I could do the podcast from it. I can make my music from it. Like if that's how I would live my life at this point mentally.
Yep.
That's not in the cards, obviously, but we all choose to live, and it is a choice as much as we don't want to. What's that?
Why isn't that in the cards?
It is down the road.
I'm just saying.
No. When I say, I meant right now.
Oh, well, dude,
I've already told my wife straight up.
15 years
I told my wife straight up the other day, because this is a lot of the meditation, introspective thinking, like really getting into that space. I know what I want. I know what makes me tick.
Yep.
I know what I want to feel, what experiences I want, right? And especially after traveling a little bit and being around certain places that maybe I would live, like just being in that space. I told her, I'm like, Maddox, the kids, when they are gone out of college, I'm out. Your choice if you want to come. It's going to be a month. I don't know. I have to.
My best advice for you is live every day with that end in mind, because it'll help guide your decisions along the way.
And
it'll help your business decisions. It'll help your relationship decisions, because if you're thinking with the end in mind at all points, right? Like for me, my end is boom, 50 years old, retired, right?
So you're doing everything everything
I can do to get there. And what does retired mean? Retired doesn't mean that I'm going to
stop working.
It means I don't have to get up and answer people's emails. I could dictate my day.
Yeah, the hustle and bustle side of it,
Tiki
the responsibilities,
bar, beach, sell jet skis, rent jet skis. That's all I want. Homeschool the kids, if anything. Like, why do I need to?
I feel you, bro.
Like, and so I live my life. I go 150 miles an hour just so that way I can get to that.
Yeah,
it guides all my decisions.
Dude. I feel that. I feel it. I love that. I remember we went to what's it called? Turks and Caicos, right? With my wife, her my brother-in-law, his wife, and another couple. And I'm out there, right? And like there was nothing. There was no stresses, right? So I'm living. And mind you, I know my personality. I love people. I thrive around people. I love
a good vacation guy.
Oh, I'm a great vacation guy, dude. You have no idea. Because I let everybody be themselves, but I'm so just myself, and I'm not fearful of any of that. Right, that's not my fears. Are a lot of the system stuff, and making sure you make enough, and all these other things that are again not my control. That's if I were to have fear those things. But it's when I'm in that space, right? So we did a boat day, and we're with shout out Anthony and oh my god, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna think of his name. Right, they were the boat guides.
Okay,
one of the best days in my entire life, whipping around Turks and Caicos, seeing all the houses, the freedom of it. And I go to my brother, I'm like, I have a brand, Destination Happiness. There's a lot of money in all these places. If I set up a little shop out here and became a boat guide and played my music and
you sold
I'm happy every single day. I'm happy, bro. I would every day,
set yourself up.
It's
security.
See,
if you have the security, if you had $1 million in the bank,
it would have been.
You'd do it.
It would have been.
So then,
it would have been.
Now you know what you have to work on.
Correct.
And that guides you.
Thank you for the friendly reminder. It guides you.
That's it.
That's the motivation.
Like, for example, I like to live my life in a way where, like, as I said, the end is in mind. So, like, like in real estate, right? I train a lot of agents. I'm a productivity coach in my office, but I also am building a team. So what I do is I have to understand that, like, when they first start off, they don't really know how to do the cold calls. They don't really know how to do the, what to even say when they get on the cold call, right? Totally. So I walk them through stages. And then, of course, I'm having my day, you know, whatever I'm doing. And then I have them, like, literally in the office with me. So I'm overhearing them. And I have to always take a deep breath and say the end. I have to get this person to a point where they don't know what's going on. And I have to get them to this point. So, you know, the end is in mind. I need to get them to be able to take a listing, deal with a buyer. So I have to.
And trust that they're going to do it the right way. Yes. Correct. Yeah.
So the end is in mind. Even though I don't want to explain to them and take the 20 minutes to explain to them, but I have to have the end in mind.
Yeah. When did you start so you became a real estate when? A real estate agent when?
2004. That year that my father gave me his college for the year, dad college or whatever you want to call it, the Padernacht College, I guess we'll call it for now. That year he made me get my license. That was 2004-ish. Got my first license. I've been licensed ever since.
And then you built yourself up. When was your first, like, when did you create a group, right? Is that what it's called, an agency?
2 years later.
2 years later.
2 years later.
And that was, so you created your company, and did you have agents underneath you from that?
Yeah. So you start off as in real estate, you start off as a salesperson. Okay. And you have to be sponsored by somebody.
Like Keller Williams or a
broker.
Yeah,
you have to be sponsored by a broker. So at that point, my brother Daniel, my older brother, was my broker. He had a broker's license.
Gotcha.
So then after 2 years, you qualify if you do enough sales or enough deals, and you go and you take the broker's course, you could become your own broker. So I did it immediately. 2 years later, I became my own broker, and that's when I started my first company, 2007, I believe it was, the SMP Realty Group Corp.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah. That's still my email.
Yeah,
SMP Realty.
I think I've gotten an email from it.
Probably. I'm sure you have. I'm real big on email marketing.
I'm pretty sure I have.
So yeah, I've had my own company now since 2007.
Wow.
17 years. You learn real quick that you have to pay taxes. You learn real quick that you have to deal with when you start a company. Yeah, all these things that you think just magically appear.
I know.
You think those staplers just show up here?
No, I mean, listen, the write-offs and there's aspects to it for sure. But
it's a write-off for real. Though?
Well, like all this stuff. I mean, everybody
have to pay for it though.
We do have to pay for it.
And then what's going to happen? You just get taxed less.
You get taxed less.
So you
don't get as much. You don't get it back. You get
my point.
It makes you feel good when you do, I guess.
But so think about it though. Like if you spend 10 grand on whatever. I don't know what you spend here, but if you spent 10 grand and then you made 90 grand at your job, now they're only taxing you on 80. It's not like you're getting any of that 10 grand back. You're just getting taxed less on the other money. But so they make it sound good.
It does.
Sounds good.
But you said it to me earlier before we jumped on. It's like in the space that I'm in, for instance, the corporate world, right, which has been great to me. It's given me my stability necessary as a father, as a husband, right? But there's a ceiling. Yeah. You can only get so far. It's not to say
unless you're in those corporate spaces where you're making $200,000-$400,000.
Well, in a sales role, you can. So, like, being an account executive for a tech company, you can make a lot of money.
Yes,
a lot of money. Now, it's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying ambitiously, money aside, ambitiously as far as getting up to a place where you have a little bit more control. It's your thing. Like there's a ceiling. Like financially, as an account executive, there's less of a ceiling than your average employee to a company. So I'm in a better place than I guess a lot of others. But it's not even that. It's like I like creating. I want to take my thing, create. I actually want to build business with the right people. I want the right people to play their roles to a thing. Like when it comes to equity and all these things, like I told my partner, like, I created this brand. If the right people are a part of this brand and we all have the same goals in mind and I play my role and you play your role and you plays his role and she plays it, like if that's I'd rather have a percentage of a company that's worth than 50 or 100% of a company worth,
Well, half of a nickel, half of a penny is still...
Yeah.
Like there's that expression in business that if everybody's so controlled by, I want to own 50% of this, 60% of this. But if you're not making no money,
what does it matter? It doesn't matter. And as an individual, like the one thing I know too is that like in this space, in this consulting, clothing, music, all these different worlds that I'm in, podcasting, it's like I also am an individual. So the company could be the company. And if I have X amount of equity in the company, but as an individual, I'm also thriving as a personality or a brand ambassador here or whatever. Like there's more than enough money to continue to make. I just want to build the foundation of our business to a point where it's worth what I believe it's supposed to be worth, can be worth, will be worth. Get there. And then... Is
that a number or a feeling?
What a number or a feeling?
Is that what it can be worth? Is it a feeling?
No, it's a feeling.
Freedom?
It's a feeling.
It's not a number, right?
No, hell no.
Because the person who's not in business and who doesn't share those same sort of goals with you would think, okay, well, what's the number, Robbie? Is it $1 million? Is it $2 million?
No, it's not a number at all.
I know it's not a number. I knew it before I even...
Nope. No, I don't even think
it's that feeling of I
know
it's freedom.
Yeah, it's freedom, and I know,
and I can create without having to worry about.
That's it, dude.
And my kids could create, and they don't have to worry about like where what's coming from. If they want the this, they can get this. If they want to go to the best schools, and one of the best things my parents did for me was put me in a private high school. They put me in Fordham Prep, and it's run by the Jesuits. So the Jesuits are a specific priest order. I want to make sure I say this correctly. A specific order of the Catholic Church, and they teach more about your relationship with God than on the man-made rules. And it taught me to really, really, really like look at my relationship with God and look at it from a different lens. It didn't matter if I went to church every single Sunday and I did confession and I did all this stuff. As long as I believed and I had my relationship, that's all that mattered. And I think that I use that same principle when it comes to business, because I'm like, listen, you know what? The dollars and cents might not add up, but as long as I feel, as long as I feel the relationship,
that feeling is priceless.
Synergy,
that feeling is priceless. That feeling is priceless, and I know when I've not had that feeling, and it sucks. There's been times I've had more money and didn't have that feeling, and was in a terrible space, mentally, physically. My chest,
feeling in your chest,
dude. I had serious anxiety. Like before I met you, serious anxiety, like painful anxiety, crippling anxiety.
Did you find out the cause of it?
Yeah, I mean, so what happened? I had I won't get into
doctors will tell you that you need to take some medicine.
No, I would never.
But you should just meditate, I think.
No. It was what happened was I got knocked off my pedestal. I was an artist and I was partying really, really hard, and it was these late nights, and and it just all caught up to me in one morning, and I had a panic attack, and I was convinced I was having a heart attack, and it drove me to the hospital, and the panic attack didn't stop for 2.5 hours, and I thought I was dying, and my heart rate went well over 200 beats per minute, and I was very convinced I was dying when I was in the hospital, and I'm screaming in the like it was a thing, dude, and they knocked me with whatever medicine to wean me off, the drinking and whatever else. And I woke up and my heart was tired. I actually felt, your heart just sits there most of the time. Like I get little murmurs and palpitations. I don't know if you do or you don't, but I've had them since I was a kid, and it like stops your body. It's actually really wild. But it's been confirmed that don't worry about it, bro. Like your body's like a car, it's a machine. I'm like, all right, it's a car, it's a machine. It's gonna have hiccups. All right, cool. But yeah, so that happened, and what it did is it uprooted what I thought was my foundation and what I thought was my
identity.
Identity, not
as
even
an artist.
No, not even so much identity as an artist, because I actually started thriving. I went further as an artist post this. It was more the lifestyle and the people that I was around and the way it was operating and having to be late nights in the studio. Like I had to switch gears. And so when you remove yourself from the way it operates, the machine, and you're now on the outside of the way that machine operates. These are your friends. These are your label mates. These are your, it was hard, bro. Like, adjusting. And at the time, never having experienced anything like that.
And you were probably young at the time.
I was 24 or 5.
I mean, you're still like shit.
Yeah, dude. I was learning myself, and but then there was a lot of anxiety. What helped me overcome it was going through it for one. Like it was actually good. Because
did you have people that helped you, like
my mother, my father,
family?
Yeah, my wife, obviously, who at the time we weren't married, but like was always in my corner. Yeah, man, like really deep introspective thinking. And I'm a deep person.
What advice would you give to your to somebody at that age that is feeling that same sort of anxiety?
The simple answer is, you know why.
You know what's causing it.
You know what's going on. And you're letting a lot of fear of what friends may think. Is it going to remove me from my friend group? Is quitting my job? Is my mom and my dad going to be upset with me? You kind of know. So trust yourself and know that making a decision that makes you feel good, as long as it's honest
and legal.
Was that?
And legal.
And, well, of course legal. Yeah, no, of course legal. Please, man. Yeah, we're not. Hey. Thank you for clearing it up, because that could be left, bad interpretation. But yeah, like it's hard when you're young because you don't have enough experience to know that the pains of change
are
necessary, right? And it's very difficult, but I promise you, as long as it's honest, as long as it's real, and as long as you learn from it, whether it was the right decision or the wrong, and you stay true to it, it's the best thing you could possibly do. So don't drag it along. Don't,
have difficult conversations.
Take it head on.
Have difficult conversations.
The people you love, people you can trust, be honest about that too. Like, it might not be your mom and dad. I don't know. Everybody's relationships are very different. So you have to be very real about, I know that's the right person to bring this to. Know that too. And if they're not, you're going to learn through that too.
Absolutely.
It's all.
Yeah, because if you go to your mom and dad and they might, listen, it's important to tell them.
Yeah.
But at the same time.
Especially if you're young and
But you also have to look for an outlet, somebody who you could relate to. Because
correct.
Parents, listen, I don't know about you, but when my parents were 43 years old, my age, I felt like they were way older.
Isn't that weird, bro?
Then I'm 43 talking to the kids, and I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like my parents, when they were 43, I thought they were like 43.
Yeah.
Now I'm 43, and I'm like, yo, I'm 43. I'm wearing a hoodie. I'm chilling. I'm wearing a hat. Listen to, whatever. Anyway, but to just go back to your point, like, I think that it's important what you brought up. Like, make sure that you go to the right person.
Go to the right person.
And try different people.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is like, you trust, you only know what you know in every moment. In every moment.
Yep.
So go with what feels right in every single moment. And listen, it's not always going to be the right decision in the end, but in regards to what, like, did it work out, quote unquote, but it actually is the right decision, because the worst that can happen is you learn from it. The worst.
Yep.
The worst. And how is that bad? That's great. It's fantastic.
Those failures are what make us who we are.
100%, dude.
And just to go back to about the panic attack, like, I feel genuinely, and I've heard this, and again, I'm surely no doctor, but like, I feel like a lot of those, if beyond any sort of physical issues, like, a lot of those are just brought on by,
they're self-induced. So it would be like moments like either I'm in a certain situation and it's not working out a certain way, but it's so outside of the way it was the last couple years of my life, might bring one on. I mean, I remember there was a time I hit a bowl and then started doing push-ups.
That sounds too smart.
Right? But, you said it, you go play basketball.
Yeah,
it was things that were very regular to me. I started to feel much more. I started to be differently conscious of it all. And so, like, these ups and downs, these things that were, I there's a part of me that misses, like, how free I used to be. Don't get me wrong, right? But, like, yeah, I started to feel it. So, like, I was always at the root of it all, always.
Yeah.
And that is a friendly reminder that regardless whether it's panic attacks or not, you are at the root of it all.
And you control it.
You really do. Like, we can point a finger and get mad at the next person. We can get frustrated. Like, no, that's not the truth. Like, yes, people play a part in stuff for sure. It was your decision to be there. It was your decision to talk to this person. It's all your decision.
You want to hear something interesting? My father used to tell me that when you point a finger at somebody, you got 3 coming back at you.
Ooh.
So you're pointing at somebody else, but you have to look at yourself and figure out what it is that you did to play a part in that decision.
Ooh.
Take accountability.
Ooh, accountability, dude.
Bro, like, and that's something that lacks in the business world. Oh, it's their fault. It's their fault. I promise you that I try to take as much accountability as possible with every situation, especially when you're in charge of a company, you're in charge of a business. Like, down at the bar, if stuff goes wrong, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Like you want to do this, then it's on you. If the server messes up, it's on you. You have to answer. In the business, in the real estate, it's the same thing.
And lead.
Yeah.
Like, so say it is the bartender or whoever else that might have messed something up. If you were to call, if you were to be that guy,
nope,
that's not going to get the most out of them. Nope. There's a way to sit that person down and make it very clear. And she understands what they did wrong, while simultaneously like motivate them. Like you're great at what you do.
Yeah, but there's also a limit to that.
Of course, always.
There's also a limit.
Well, because people take advantage of the leniency.
Sometimes you have to find the right. All the time, actually, you have to find the right person for the right position.
Always.
And what I've learned about business is that if you put the wrong person in the wrong place, it's like putting a round peg through a square hole.
Yep.
And you're just going to get that every single time. As much as you want them to be that person, they can't be that square peg. Correct. They're round.
Correct. But I've watched it every step of the way, even in my own ventures, especially since being an artist. Like, it's been very difficult to be I'm a creative. Like, I can call myself like CEO of Destination Happiness. I've had conversations with my partner, and be like, I don't even want that title. It's not about being CEO. Like, I don't care to be. I'd almost, and they actually came up with like chief creative, like, and that makes logical sense to me.
Yes.
Without being egotistical, and I own this company, and
because at some point you're going to have to link up with other business people.
I want the right CEO, dude.
Exactly,
I want the right CEO. Yep. I really do. Yeah. It doesn't change. We're all going to sit at a round table and talk, and I'm going to play my role. And I know enough to be able to have conversations about that, but so that you can go and make this
do what CEOs do.
Correct, dude.
Just because you start a company doesn't mean you should be the CEO.
And that's probably something that everybody should hear.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody just wants to be like, CEO, my thing. I hate seeing it in my signature.
Yeah.
It like bothers me seeing it in the signature.
Change it.
I usually just use founder now more than founder. Like, I just let it be what it is.
Founder's great.
Yeah, but it's so true, man. It's humbling. A lot of it is humbling because there's a lot of pride involved, and you think you know what it's supposed to be, and you want to be the CEO that you see on whatever. If I'm not mistaken, I think Elon Musk is called in his own company Chief Creative something.
Maybe.
I don't even think he's considered the CEO. I'm pretty sure.
In the company that I'm affiliated with now is Keller Williams. The founder of Keller Williams is Gary Keller. In the early years, he fired himself from being CEO.
Wow.
He fired himself.
And put somebody in position.
And put himself in the position to go out and recruit more people because that's what he was good at. And blew the company up.
Yep. It's
hired somebody that would be in the position and and do what CEOs do. We're not listen, I know what I'm good at.
I know what I'm good at. It doesn't change. Like, there's so much money that can go on in the world. Like, everybody has this idea that CEO is this thing. It's like, dude,
it's just a title.
It's just a title. If I would
Chief Executive Officer.
Really? And there's some people are great at it.
You know what I do? So something I learned early on was when you're forming a company, an LLC, a corp, or whatever it is, just sign as member.
That makes sense.
Even though nobody knows you're the only member.
Yeah.
Just sign as member.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
No, that's my title.
Yeah.
And it automatically makes it be like, oh, there's got to be more members.
Yeah. Right. Well, I named my company SMP Realty Group Corp. Like I was a group.
Yeah.
Just me, buddy. Just
amazing.
Just me,
it is though. You put it on paper, it holds different weight.
Yeah. When you start the LLC and you get the seal.
Yeah.
When you get the seal in the mail, it becomes official.
It's official.
Yeah.
Yeah. Member of the corp.
When the IRS starts knocking too, like, hey, buddy, you got to pay these taxes. Oh, damn. All right.
Then it is all you.
Yeah. That's the thing. When you're able to make those decisions, right, like, and be able to handle the responsibilities that come with it, that's when you're going to be a man.
I can't agree more, man.
Or an adult or a woman or whatever.
Yeah, it's stay true. Just stay true to who you are. Not everybody, you don't have to prove anything to anybody but yourself. You really don't. No, and I enjoy being around people who are comfortable in their own skin more than anybody else. Like, and it has allowed me to be, because I love people. Like, I really am so enamored by so many different walks of life and seeing how other people operate. Like, but it doesn't mean I have to fit into your world. I'm just interested in in why you're so true to your thing.
Well, it's important. I feel like the best people are the ones that don't change depending on the room that they're in.
I think it's amazing. Yeah,
you have to be able to adapt, right?
Yeah, like, to a degree. Yeah, you have to.
Sitting in a business,
if you're smoking a cigar, I'm probably going to smoke a cigar with you, kind of a thing. Like, I and I do like cigars from time to time, but
more so, like, if you're in a business meeting and you put your business. business Steve is showing up.
Yeah.
But if we're at the bar hanging out and we're shooting the shit, watching the football
You gotta
game,
be you.
I'm Giant fan Steve is there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Philly fan walks in, boo.
Yeah, exactly. When we're at the Yankee Stadium, we're at Yankee Stadium, and it's the playoffs. Like, forget about it. Like, we're not friends. There's no friends. You're a Boston fan. You're this fan.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about no other teams right now.
Yep.
Like,
No, I
so
agree.
it's different versions of yourself, but you're still the same person.
Yeah, man. Of course.
When
of
people
course.
change, that's the ones that you should avoid.
Listen, Bar 9 Steve and Real Estate Steve are two different, by default
Versions
of Steve.
But still Steve.
Of course. And then, when you lay your head down at night and you're with your family, that's another, version of Steve. But that doesn't, I like the idea of down the road being able to just, I think that's like another goal in mind to not have to, for 2 hours I'm here, for 6 hours I'm here. I don't know how to get, I think I do actually.
Nothing a good Trello board won't fix.
Trello. Are you still on Trello?
Yes.
Do you do Trello still?
I got that from Miles. Shout out
I
to my boy
know.
Miles. I
Is
got
he
that from
still
Miles.
using Trello?
I'm sure he is. I'm not on Trello. We're not on the same boards, but I'm just saying.
We're not on the same board. You have limited access.
Yeah, like he's got me.
Yeah.
He's got me on a couple different boards. But I'm saying in my business, I use it in my business.
Yeah,
too.
it's a great tool.
And because it allows you to visualize. Like,
Yeah.
I love a good flow chart.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I love a
yeah.
good.
Yep.
Like, you do this and this happens. I
Yep.
love a good flow chart.
Yeah.
And Trello allows me to have a board for real estate, and then that real estate board has. Boom, you have training, then you have listings, then you have buyers, and then under that you have cards. It makes it really...
Keeps you focused. It keeps you, yeah. No, Trello is good. Miles introduced me to Trello too. Yeah. Or being on these Trello boards.
Yeah. Didn't really know what was going on.
I had no clue, bro. I'm like, what am I even looking at here?
But that just shows you how kind of ahead he was.
They always are, dude. That's the creative. Yeah. That's the creative.
Yep.
They're way ahead of the curve with that stuff. Well, why don't we talk about, because let's say 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes.
Okay.
You got a podcast.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. The Padernacht podcast, Brick by Brick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just launched it. I've been doing, so I love to have a platform. I love to talk. I'm very opinionated, right? Yeah, I am very reserved, but I'm very opinionated.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have a lot to share. And I felt that I was doing a lot of different sort of podcasts. For a long time, I was doing like a podcast with a lender friend of mine, Mortgage Matters. I did Inspection Matters. I was doing Small Business Spotlights. I started a podcast called Tales, where I was bringing and I was interviewing like my mom and the older generations of my family. So I was like, you know what? I just want to have one cohesive platform that I could do all of it. So I just launched it. I'm literally 2 episodes in. I started shooting it last weekend, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw it. It looks good.
Yeah, I mean,
it's clean. It really is clean though. Like the way it's shot, the visually, and I already know. Like even this, you have a lot of really good insight, and I appreciate how raw. I don't, like I remember, the Future Moguls. I don't think I didn't really get to know. Miles is my guy. You come in business, and
then all of a sudden I'm like the business guy.
You're a business guy. Why does Robbie have any? I remember like the conversations and be like, "What the fuck is this? What are we talking about?" But those are the moments that made me kind of like, business is business and understanding things. But no, you do have a lot. You have a lot of really good insight, and you're successful. You have, Bar 9 out in the city, which we didn't really even touch on.
Yeah.
Bar 9 out in the city, real estate. I think it's good, and even to be willing to open up and let people learn.
Yeah.
Through you.
So in my office, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a productivity coach. So a lot of what I do, a lot of the content, a lot of the stuff I do is based around helping agents get in production. But something that I learned so I lost my father in 2009, and I realized that I had no video, no audio, nothing of hearing his voice. So for me, it became very important for me to put as much content out as possible. So that way, listen, God willing, future generations
it's in the ether.
will be able to come back and know who Steve was in his own words.
That's an interesting way to put it. I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Think about it. Like, like when we're gone.
There's a footprint.
Yeah, it's there. If you want to know what Steve was thinking at that time, go back to it and think about it.
Yeah, and the more and more you have out, the more you family will have. They'll constantly be pressing play.
Exactly. One of the things that I'm most proud of the pieces of content that I'm most proud of is what I was telling you about. It's called Tales. And I'm on, I'm scrolling social media and, I'm a victim of the algorithm, but something popped up and it was like, okay, so if you want to ask questions of the prior generations of your family that are not normal questions, right? Like buy this or whatever. So
is it a book?
No, it's a box of cards. It's called Tales. And it's got about 150 questions that you wouldn't normally ask your mom or dad or older generations. Like, so who were your best friends when you were in high school? What made you decide to marry your spouse? Who was your first boyfriend or girlfriend? Questions like that you wouldn't normally
ask your parents. Yeah.
So I interviewed my mom, who's an identical twin, and her sister at the same time. And then my cousin JR, who is actually an older cousin. Like he's got me by like 20 years because my mom was the youngest of 5.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm really proud of. And for me, the podcast is really just a platform for me to let people tell their stories.
Yeah, that's literally, we're on the same page there, dude.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to do this. I have great conversations with people behind closed doors, and I feel like, why wouldn't that be something that should be shared?
Yeah, and it's out there.
Yeah.
And you can put it out there. And I think it's also a good deed to give another person a platform to be able to share. Because you are blessed enough to have taught yourself how to put together the set and how to do the equipment and to do this and do that. But like a lot of people might not be able to, but they're very interesting people that you could now do a good deed for them and put it out there.
Yeah, and my other thought too is that like, we only know what we know, especially with the social media era. Like you only know what you see on the surface.
Yep.
And most of us we use it as a almost like a resume of sorts. Like most people are happy on social media. They're highlighting the best version of themselves, or they're doing whatever it is that they're doing to gain attention. And then that's the perception of you. And like one of the things I really wanted to accomplish, especially with a lot of people that I know, is there's a lot behind the curtain.
Yeah.
There's just so much that you don't know about people, and so, an hour and a half, whatever it is, let's just talk and, gives people something else. Like you said, you can press play, you can look back at it, you can understand who that person is.
Yep.
I mean, that was like the whole thing.
And one of the things is for the business aspect, which is to give to put the content out there. But the other aspect is really just about getting your voice out there and getting your opinion out there. I think it's super important.
It's super important to
express themselves.
It's super important, and the long form stuff, like an hour and a half, what even half hour, the conversations you get, you see who that person is far more than you do in a 10 to 20 second clip. Now, mind you, I love the 10 to 20 second clips, making them fun and engaging or whatever. Don't get me wrong, it's what pulls the attention. But I got enamored with the podcast game because I would watch these 3 hour, 2.5 hours. I'd be, 3 days in a row in the car on drives, and I'd be listening to certain people.
Where I do it.
Yeah, it's the best in the car. Yeah. The best in the car. And so like I'd listen to a lot of people that I had an opinion on, and then I'm listening, like, he's dope or she's dope. Yeah. Like she's smart. He's a lot of things that I just never would have. I would have walked away.
With your own opinion of the 20-second clip you saw on IG.
Correct. And what's crazy is especially, with the media and all these different things, I watch media or whoever it is paint pictures of people that I've seen a certain way because I've taken the time to base my opinion on 3 hours of.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's not true.
Well, dude, if you think about it, and this is not a secret, but like the major media platforms are all owned by the same group of 4 or 5 people.
I know. So
I know how it all works. They're only pushing the narratives that they want to push.
And it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Opened my eyes to the news networks.
Opened my eyes tremendously to the news networks, dude. Yeah. What a show.
Yeah.
What a show.
I didn't really care much for the rich, wealthy issues that they had. I cared
more, but it was interesting.
It was very interesting.
It was a very interesting show.
That and Billions.
Billions was great.
Yeah.
I'm a big like TV, like I'll binge watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll knock one out in a couple of days.
Awesome.
Billions was.
Yeah.
Billions was fantastic.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
I like shows like that you could learn from and be entertained.
Yeah. Like you really, and I think you could learn a lot from, like for instance, Game of Thrones, which is way outside of my wheelhouse, right?
I've never seen an episode.
So I remember not wanting to watch like medieval stuff, not my thing. It is the Game of Thrones. If you would get it, you would get where I'm coming from when I say this.
When you just said that, it made sense a little bit.
Trust me, like the powers and the different places and how
they're like dragons in it and stuff. Yeah. So like,
but
turns me off immediately.
Trust me, I swear, I was
Watch The Last Kingdom.
Okay.
Have you seen the
What
Last
is that?
Kingdom?
What is that? Dragon? Not,
No, no, you think it is.
It sounds like
it's about the Danes. It's about the Danes taking over England and how England became England. It's about the last. It's about the 7 kingdoms that came together to become England. Uhtred of Bebbanburg. Trust me, the last kingdom. Go on Netflix. I promise you.
I see it pop up all the time.
You will not be disappointed.
I'll watch it. I need another good show. But the point is like most of these shows you can learn something from.
Yeah.
Like most of them, they're usually the good ones are shaped in some way, shape, or form to give you some sort of introspective thinking. Usually it's living within the context of the show. It's not like, I don't know if everybody can poke out like Game of Thrones, for instance, like, yeah, it might be entertaining. Maybe they like, no. The dynamic and the manipulation and how they this and blah, blah, blah. That's how I see it.
That interests me very much.
That's how I see it.
I'm real big on like autobiographies and documentaries. I love a good doc. Like,
love a good doc.
Love a good documentary.
I'm watching right now, what is it called? It's on Netflix. It's about Hiroshima.
Like Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, it's called
Hiroshima.
The Last. I forget.
But it's about those times.
3 parts. So it's the first part is Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and it goes into what it was like in Japan, and then what it was like in the U.S. The reasons on both, like all of it. It kind of shaped, and you get into survivors from. It changes a little bit. What we're taught. For sure.
Well, again, we're only. Please don't be trained. Like, think outside the box.
It's all.
You know what I like to do sometimes? I like to look at the opposite, what the other people are saying.
It's the best. You have to
listen to what the other people are talking about.
You have to. You absolutely.
If you're, and again, we're not getting into politics, but if you're on the right. And you're not listening to what the left is saying, you're not gonna. If
you aren't open-minded going into it, on top of it, like it's not saying you can hate or not agree with on the like surface level, or this is my community, but if you're not willing to listen, right? What are we doing?
One of the best sales closes is, so are you open-minded to possibly doing X, Y, and Z? Or would you say that you're closed-minded to doing this? Nobody ever wants to be closed-minded.
Wow.
Are you closed-minded to meeting to find out?
It's kind of it's like a dig.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm taking that. Yeah. Because I make a lot of outbound calls.
You should look up Phil Jones.
Okay.
Exactly what to say.
Is this like a salesy?
So he's
Phil Jones.
Phil Jones, exactly what to say, and he has a deck of cards, costs like $50, but it gives you all of these different ways to reposition your question when you're doing a sales call. So would you say that you're closed-minded to finding out what your home is worth? Well, no, I'm not closed-minded to that. Okay, so then
you're open-minded. Yeah, because what do they say?
Nobody ever wants to be
you don't have to do like, I don't have the time. And then you got to deal with that one.
I don't know if this is for you, but
yeah, it's good.
Like that's how. And again, but the people who
it's a psychological.
And that's what the media is really good at. And if you're not able to decipher when they're doing that to you, and you're only listening to your thing, one day I'll
be on an RV.
I'm going to be, and you could drive over to wherever my tiki bar is.
Yeah.
Rent jet skis, be on a tiki bar.
Go. All right, goals, bro.
Yeah. Did you, are you into, you follow Jesse Seitzer at all?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So you see how he talks about his misogi?
Yeah, yep, of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my misogi for this year is number 1. I have 2 actually. The podcast and writing a book.
What do you want to write about?
So the book that so it's called Letters from My Dad. It's a working title. My father, and I know I keep bringing him up, but he was such an instrumental part
obviously, and I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. So he died of when he passed away. It was throat cancer. So 3 to 4 months before he passed, they had to have a tracheotomy. They took everything out of his throat, so he couldn't talk. So the only way that he could communicate was by writing. So he would write down. It wasn't just like go to the store to get me coffee. It was like life lessons.
Wow.
So when he passed, I realized that I had like a folder this thick full of letters from my father.
Wow.
And in those letters are various life lessons. He talks about like what I should do, in business, in life. He talks about why he married my mom. He talks about how I should deal with my brothers and how I should deal with certain business people, this, that, and the third. So whenever I'm feeling lonely or I miss him or whatever it is, I sit down and I read these, and it's in his handwriting.
Oh, that's dope. Would you publish it like that?
No. So the idea is that I'm going to take the stack and I'm going to pull out maybe 10 to 15 lessons that I got from it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make those into chapters and release that as a book. And it's really just, I'm not doing it for monetary value. I'm doing it as a legacy thing.
Like a soul, yeah.
For my dad.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So that's my Misogi for this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that. What's mine?
Well, I think you're doing it.
I am.
If this is, you know what I mean? Like,
I am. This is, and I say this humbly, this is a year for me.
it could be, it's a launching pad. It's
It's a
meant
year.
to be a launching
Dude,
pad.
I'm telling you, like, it's a year for me. I have not been focused on, I have in pockets, but like, I have put a lot of energy into a lot of people, a lot of different things. And listen, I enjoy doing it. The older I get, the more I realize how my days as an artist and my time away from it and what I learned in both ends are starting to do this instead of like, well, forget this because I came up with all these different. Nope. Now
It's all making you who you are.
and
all of that is Robbie Max.
And I understand. I was to the point where I was like, oh, no more Robbie Max, because I am like, to my family, I'm not Robbie. I mean, I don't even know if you know this. My first name is Max.
What?
Yeah, dude. I'm Max Robert.
What the hell?
Yeah, so I did that as an artist, and then I stuck it, and I went through a lot of these things. Like I'm not Robbie Max. I'm Max. Imagine what I'm going through. Like,
whoa.
Yeah, bro.
I'm not changing your contact on my phone, bro.
Nah. So on the surface, to everybody, listen, I'm Robbie Max. That is like my personality, my social media personality is who I am. And listen, you're getting Max.
Yeah,
I've learned that the name is the name, and I built my brand through
as long
it.
As you're true to yourself, but
it doesn't matter what the name is. It really doesn't. And most people, I will tell you, there is a chunk of people in my life that know me as Max. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot more people through who I met that know me as Robbie. So day to day, I get both.
Yeah, well,
it's interesting.
It's okay as long as
I don't care.
Yeah, like
it's a lot of me not caring now. Though is a lot of also what I went through. A lot of learning who I am, what I want. I would make the excuse up.
It's interesting. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's interesting that you talk about the anxiety and all that when you were early on. Because at that point
I was an artist. I was an artist,
yeah, exactly.
But I was getting out of the excessiveness of Robbie Max into more of who Max is, but my name was my name.
Yep.
And then, the deal that I had fell through, and then I'm like, okay, well now I'm husband,
father,
eventually father, right? And so now Max is really, and then I'm starting to realize, I love my life at home, but I miss so much of working and operating the way that I used to. Like my wife doesn't know we didn't live together before we got married.
Oh, really?
Right. And then we got married and moved in together. And, not going into it, like, who knows how this is going to, actually, she's a very easy roommate. I'm an easy, like, we're good. We gel very well. But she doesn't know how I operated. So I switched my lifestyle up to be married, be home at a certain time, do things a certain way, structure. But I choose to live very free. I choose to operate the way, if it's 3:00 in the morning and I got to pick up calls, I got to go downstairs, whatever. So I respect what she wants out of a relationship. And that has been very difficult for me over the years as an individual. Yeah. And it took me a long time to open up to her and tell her that.
You know what though? I would say, just about the 3:00 in the morning thing, I have do not disturb after 8 p.m.
To each their own.
Yeah. But I have favorites. So like my mom, my brothers, my nephews, my niece, blah, blah, they're all my favorites. The kids.
Well, forget calls. Forget calls. It's like I would prefer in so many ways, or even not prefer like this is how I would want it to be. But if I at 1:00 in the morning can't sleep because I'm thinking of a song or want to go draw or want to write, I want to go downstairs and do it. Yeah. Now I didn't for a long time.
You were limiting yourself.
I was limiting
myself. What you thought a married person.
Correct. And also what she wants out of a relationship too, because she never felt somebody who ever had.
Hope you had that conversation.
We've had that conversation.
Hey, I need to be able to express myself and be able to do this. Oh, yeah, there we go. See, there it is. Yeah, there it is.
So, it's always a
but
learning.
You never know when that creative bug's going to hit.
I
like
can't,
2 o'clock in the morning, like if you can't sleep, turn over it, you got to lay down the track or you got to do something like it's okay to do that.
She's been very good with me she's been very patient with me, for one, because again, it's a lot, dude. It's for a long time, I wasn't the best boyfriend or the best husband, like I've had my moments where I hurt her, you know what I mean? And, that also holds weight. So if I'm going to go downstairs at 2 o'clock, where's your mind? That's a thing. Mm-hmm. That's a thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing. My opinion on that sort of aspect is like my fiance just understands that she understands the type of person I am, mm-hmm. and I need at certain times, like if I got to go do work, I got to go do work. As long as you're handling the responsibilities at home. And
correct.
I think that's the most important thing.
That is the most important thing.
And your wife, my fiance, at this point, I'm sure they understand the type of men that they're with.
100%.
Not the guy that gets up at 6 a.m. and goes and clocks in and then comes home at 5 o'clock and shuts off.
No.
If they wanted that type of guy,
they'd have that type of guy.
Exactly.
I've reminded her multiple times.
Like, yo, go.
You're still here.
Yeah, you're still here. Like I've been with my fiance now. April will be 9 years. I'm with my fiance.
Wow.
Like you had plenty of time to leave.
Yeah.
And we moved in together 4 years ago. We both wanted to make sure that we could live with each other and not have to worry about that roommate situation.
Yeah.
So just going through that, like, listen, you know the type of person I am at this point.
Yeah, and that's a two-way street too. I also know on the latter, like, on the other side of it, like, I'm here too.
Yeah. Well, we both listen. I love my fiance with all my heart and soul. So like, she is an amazing woman, and I'm sure your wife is an amazing
best
woman. So we pick women. I don't want to say we pick women. Let me rephrase. We chose
they
women.
pick us.
They pick us, but we chose to ask them to spend the rest of their lives with us because of the special qualities that they have.
Correct.
And because they understand us.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
You hit it on the head. Woosah. 5-minute meditation.
Yeah.
That was good. We went an hour and 10 minutes plus.
Nice.
Time flies when you're having fun, dude.
And we could probably keep cooking.
We could. I think the camera's gonna die. That's the only reason I'm trying to like.
Yeah. All good.
Let's do a part 2, man. We can keep this. As
Listen,
you got things, I'll come to yours.
You'll come to mine. Yeah.
I'll come to yours.
And then like I think it's just cool to just get back into. Just reconnecting with people. Like I haven't seen you, and I can't remember the last time I saw you.
We've never talked like this.
Not
it's
like
always
this.
been with whether it be Future Moguls,
about business.
Yeah, it's always about business, bro. And that's I love business, but I think the best business in whether it does or doesn't or whatever. I want good relationships. I want to and have these talks, have these conversations. So I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah,
an hour and 10 minutes, bro. I'm gonna press this. And we're out.
There we go. Are we off?
No more time wasted. This is